Okay, gonna wait a second because Mike seems to crackle after coming back from a break, but you can tell the sun's starting to rise because the green screen's starting to look better. And TLO saying he'd love to use the no cake mod if possible. Okay, so here's the update on what's going on. TLO versus Bunny coming up next. Bunny needed a 10-minute AFK about 5-ish minutes ago, so we may be sitting here for a couple of minutes waiting. TLO versus Bunny coming up next. Wow, sun's out, guns out, am I right? Yeah.
Totally.
Man, I was so sad that nobody... I actually went through the VOD so I could specifically watch Rechat for this, but nobody, like, applauded my welcome to the Beyond show pun I made when we were casting him the other day. Made me really sad.
They're there.
Although I would say, I don't know if you took the time to do it, but going through and reading the responses people had for, like, why they subbed to the channel was kind of some heartwarming stuff. There was a couple of throwaways that were just like, I only sub because like I like StarCraft 2. Couldn't care less about you guys. I was like, oh, okay. Feels bad, man. But there's like one person. Everyone else is like, yeah, you guys are awesome. We like you. This, that, blah, 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 the other. So I guess I'm going to ask... Oh, quick shout outs to Jimmy Schmo.
Jimmy
Schmo 9. Woo, drinking Timmy's coffee in Montreal. 4-month resub. So this must be a fellow Canadian. Because only one country would be that stoked about Timmy's.
Yeah, it's not even that great.
Dude, you watch your mouth. I swear, you're going to get us in so much trouble in Montreal.
I don't understand the appeal of your tiny munchkin donuts.
Munchkin donuts? They're called Timbits. Have some respect.
Munchkins.
No,
Munchkins is a much cuter word.
Munchkins are adorable fucking breeds of cats. Timbits are delicious tiny donuts. Okay, get your shit together.
I'll give you those what are they called, the icy for coffee?
Ice caps. Ice caps are great.
Ice caps, yeah. I'll give you that. But the donuts are just...
man, hang on. I got an awkward Tim Hortons story for you. So I went in, this is like 2 weeks ago. I went into Tim Hortons and I was so exhausted because for those who don't know, like for me to walk to Tim Hortons is like 7 kilometers away from me, right? So I get in, I'm super tired. I walk up and I'm like, can I get an iced frappuccino, please? Oh, no, an iced cappuccino, please? And they're like, excuse me? And I'm like, I had this moment where I'm like, wait, what did I say? What did I just ask for? I don't remember. So it's like, a shot of espresso. Like, do you want an ice cap, sir? Like, treating me like I'm a baby? And I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, thanks. Oh, gosh, I feel like, like we laughed about it, the person who was taking my order. But I was just like, I can't believe I fucked up so bad on something I've ordered like so many times in my life. That's like going to McDonald's asking for a cheeseburger. You're like, can I get some meat and buns, please?
You asked for an iced cappuccino.
Yes.
I really don't think that's that bad.
But it was the fact that I followed up with like, it should have been, yes, I would like an iced cappuccino, not give me a shot of espresso. They're like, in what, sir? Like, what are you trying to order? You want just a shot of espresso? This isn't a bar, you know? Just like... So, that's a bad Timmy's experience more recently. Hugo Levander, thank you for the 2-month resub.
Ugh, Ollivander.
Alright, and I got the map order. There you go.
Paste it, paste it, paste it, paste it.
I did.
Thanks.
In both chats. There we go.
Just in case I wasn't in both chats, thank you.
Yeah, see, unlike everyone else in the game, I'm accommodating for that chat dilemma. But we are doing the no cake mod, so sadly, if you guys are big fans of the cake mod, you're not going to get to see examples of it here. But TLO and Bunny coming up next. I guess we're going to make a tweet about it while you make the lobby. I think Naruto and O Gaming want in for this too, by the way.
Well, they should say me.
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 Alright. And this is a qualifying match too. Qualifier team kill. What else is new?
What other caster am I invited?
The O Gaming folks. I think. I don't actually know. I think. Just try inviting them. We'll see what happens. TLO versus Bunny. Best of 5. TvZ on BaseTradeTV. I actually, before we get into this, I'm just gonna say I actually really like TLO right now. After watching him play versus Braddock, after seeing him adapt to playing versus Braddock, and seeing specifically his late game, I'm feeling very good about TLO's chances here because I know Bunny has not been super full time with the game. But I do just want to throw in that caveat where, like, even Bunny, when he's not playing this game seriously, is still a really freaking good Terran. He didn't play the game seriously for like 2 months, then came into a Matcherino Cup and stomped everybody. So this could go either way. I'm just gonna favor TLO, I think, because we saw good results from him versus Terran already through the qualifiers to get here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that one. But Bunny has his builds, and I could see him taking it, but I do give it a TLO.
All right, well, as we get into this first game in a best of 5, quick reminders of what you're watching. This is a qualifying match for the final qualifier for the Europeans to get to DreamHack Montreal, aka WCS Summer. Spawning here on the top left side of the map, it's going to be none other than Dr. Dario himself, the Blue Zerg, TLO.
In the bottom right, as the Red Terran, he's Liquid Bunny.
Okay, so I would love for you to go do some quick homework for me, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, okay.
This will require tabbing out. Can you handle that?
I mean, I have to be at home to do homework, and I am at home, so...
It will require a little bit of Google work as well. Are you okay with that?
Okay, I have some pretty good Google foo. I found that girl, so...
Congratulations on being a stalker, or a better stalker than me at least. Which players are... I'm wondering if it would be easy to look up. Which foreigners are currently the ones contesting BlizzCon right now?
Oh, okay.
So I'm wondering if there's any actual importance and difference between Bunny versus TLO actually qualifying here. Like, are one of them on the cusp versus already in the top 8 type thing?
There's definitely a list. I've seen people have it. Yeah, okay, here we go. WCS circuit. So it's the top 8 of the foreigners get through, and top 8 of Korea. Top 8 foreigners are... This is 2016. Pult, Nurtio, Showtime, Snoot, Hydra, Neeb, Laser, and Drogo. Quickly checking who might be on their way up and up. That's in these brackets.
While she looks, by the way, I just want to point out, it's not that it's important whether these two are up for the spot or not, but I was just curious, like, if there's one of them that's really close versus one of them doesn't really, they're just going for the tournament.
So, yeah. 8 Drogo is at basically 2,000 points. The closest to him is Euthermal from these qualifiers is at 780, and Marine Lord at 700, TLO at 615.
So they all have to basically win DreamHack,
Mana
and then another
360.
DreamHack, and then IEM, and...
I think it's like, if you do win one of these things, you're like really close / in. But yeah, they're probably gonna have to get one win and then one like round of 8 at least. Because Paul actually has like a ton of points. Paul has 4,000.
Paul's just chilling. Paul's like, I got a girlfriend now, guys. I don't need y'all.
He really does not need to perform in anything else if he doesn't want to.
All right, well, we got an interesting build, actually. Third CC came down pretty quick in base, and he also did a reactor wall off with Reapers, so still producing 2 at a time. This is very different than we've seen conventional Terran play go, but I don't know this will be enough to really screw too much with TLO. I mean, speed's on the way, so there's going to be a couple of drone kills. Oh, build cancel, actually not too bad. The question is whether queens go down or not. And right now, actually, this has been really well handled by TLO. 0 workers killed, when that should have been a couple of deaths for certain.
Yeah. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen the double Reaper, the reactor Reaper opener.
The fact that this is paired with like the 3rd CC, right? That's what so early what throws me off.
I like it though, like building at the natural, so you have a wall. I mean, it's working.
We also have a really nice message coming in for a 12-month resub. So first off, Zennies, you just qualified for a part 2. Make sure to send us a message here in the channel, and I'll send you a Google document to fill out. He says, I subscribed a year ago because you guys are the best commentators in the scene. Too bad you guys don't get to invited to more premium events. Keep it up. By the way, my name is pronounced Zennies. Canadian pronunciation, yes! For the win. Do I get my awesome coin? So there we go. We answered all those questions by accident and gave the shout out. And thank you for the kind words.
Well, you didn't expect Reapers taking on third base, did ya?
No, and I didn't expect them to still be made this high in number, but TLO has held the base. It's not dead yet.
So what's so interesting about this matchup, besides like kind of like this comeback guy, like Bunny, like is he really playing? Is he not? TLO, he's actually gonna kind of make a name for himself, pass run of 8, blah blah blah.
Oh, I love this.
Those storylines.
Oh, but he jumps up to the other side.
That didn't look as possible. It's also that you have two teammates that have been teammates for a very long time, and might be countering each other in a lot of different aspects. So I think what happened with Bunny is he might have known TLO can be greedy on his speed timing, checked with the Reaper, saw how greedy he was with it, and then made more Reapers. Because I think you only do usually go up to like 4, unless you see an opportunity. So that was very close to killing a third base, I think, because he knew TLO.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because we saw a good example of this with Mana versus Snoot in the Ting Open Season 1. And when we interviewed Mana, he said pretty openly, like, I wasn't playing versus Zerg, I was playing versus Snoot.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know, TLO also might have just been like thinking like, okay, Bunny does X a lot, so I can be greedy, and was just simply surprised by the committal to the opener. But it didn't cost him the third base, which is really important. It did cost him probably like a little bit on his macro. It cost him like Lings, too, clearly, but important that he saved the third base. That would have been, because that's different than a tank and 7 Marines and a bunker killing the third base, right?
Yeah.
That was just the Reapers.
It was a pretty weird dedication to it too, because that did screw with some of his timings, but it didn't really offset Medivacs that much. More than anything, it kind of upset Stim, but that's still going to time out well with Bunny's 1-1. So, while things are put off a little bit by the gas count dedicated to that so early, he still ends up having everything finish up around the same timings that he'd want them to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm actually feeling pretty good for Bunny. There's one thing that Bunny seems pretty consistent on. Like, this seems actually pretty consistent with anyone. Like, pro gamers are at a certain level, and they kind of stay at that level. So when they come back and put in, like, those really dedicated 2 weeks, it does seem like they bounce back to some of their old standards, For Bunny, I've always seen him as someone who could do odd builds, a bit weirder builds, and have this really good macro behind it. And that doesn't seem to have really changed, even though he's not like super full time anymore. As this timing, does work out really well. His upgrade is still ahead of TLO, and Stim is slaughtering these queens.
It destroys the queens.
Yeah,
now banelings are on the way, which is kind of interesting because we have seen TLO actually play more akin to the other style.
Focus fire! Okay.
Gets a decent hit. But I was going to comment, like, we've seen TLO go a lot more towards Roaches, a lot more towards Ravagers and Corrosive Biles and all that, and a lot less about banelings at all even. So already Bunny forced him to play a bit different than what we've seen out of TLO for the past few days.
Was it TLO that was adding on Baneling Nest and like not using it? I kind of forget, but
I don't know about not using it, but I just know that we saw very little Baneling usage in general through all the qualifiers leading to this point.
I think it was a difference there yesterday.
I think actually we saw more Banelings versus Protoss than we did versus
Yeah, right? But whoever it was, TLO is going for more into the Baneling, but he is adding on those Ravagers a little bit, so and still looking for the Hive, clearly. But he's gonna hope that doesn't happen.
That is one thing I'll comment on, where if we do see perhaps too fast of like that greed to Hive, that could really hurt him versus players like Bunny who like to get aggressive like this. But I think TLO knows, and that infestation bit might just be for infestors over Hive tech. We'll find out in a moment, of course. But right now, focus on the fight, trying to kill these Marines. Queen comes in a little bit awkwardly. Baneling's getting focused down by the tanks. Tank's not getting hit by any of these Corrosive Biles, by the way, and TLO is finding himself in a really tough spot trying to defend.
Yeah, this is actually really, really good. I saw those Banelings come up, and I was like, oh, the tank shot could be so good. But this is third base. It looks like it's going to be torn down. Yeah, just you get a focus fire at this point. There you go. Pick up. Still has enough medevacs to pick up these tanks, too. Misses one.
I don't think the base kill was that bad for TLO. Bleeding out so much of the army to defend it was, though.
And then losing it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, it was both. It puts him in a really bad position, actually. And he's still trying to get to Hive. I don't think he can actually do that. I think he's kind of been broken a little bit here. Roach Warren's here too. Again, now that he's entirely depending on roaches and just roaches, it's still an important factor of his confidence. Oh my god!
Well, there's something TLO needed to go right for him. The Banelings definitely got Bunny off guard. We would have seen him split if he knew that was coming, but at the same time, TLO is left with very little units to defend. This base is still so low for the previous Reaper attack. The Marines might have actually just been able to focus it down instead of fighting with the roaches.
Yeah. Bunny's still rallying though, and it's actually like the longer path to take on Frozen Temple. It's the one without creep, kind of. So that's what he's gonna take. He's got production. He added on those 2 extra barracks. He can start building Marauders now too. You have 2 Marauders at a time. I mean, a TLO can get to like a single Ultra with chitinous plating. He can hold on for a while, but that is still something I think Bunny's going to be able to deal with, even if it can come to that.
I don't
Bunny's
know
really
if he
trying
will.
to kill him.
Like, it's 27 army supply. Oh, so many Overlords about to go down. I don't know that TLO is going to get Ultras out.
I think it is. But it is that like one, like you always see this, but right? So, like if they get anywhere close to Ultralisk, the Zerg won't tap out for a bit.
I want to point out that this is kind of going back to what we had done with our pre-game talk, where like Bunny really, again, not super full time, hasn't been competing in a bunch of weeklies or anything like that, qualifies, whatever. Like he can just play this game well from nowhere. But TLO looked so good yesterday, and I don't know. We played a bit of a different style versus Bunny, and that may have been because of the Reaper opening. Maybe it's like, how can I best use these Lings early on? I don't know, but no Infestors this entire game certainly showed.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that kind of like, he skipped past it probably because he might have thought he could until his 4th base went down, and he's like, oh shit. But it also might have just been like, he knew he couldn't afford the Infestors and the Ultros Cavern.
Delta's Caverns right there on the front lines too, so it's gonna probably get focused down, which means without chitinous plating, we have 500 health squishy units coming. GG. Bunny is gonna take game number 1. We also had a pretty long resub. Sorry, it happened when the action was going on. Movie Mal says, haven't tuned in for most of these 14 months. What did I miss? Rude, I think, maybe, but at the same time you supported us for 14 months, so I don't know.
Hard to say, I don't know.
You missed Zombie Grub having a boyfriend, losing the boyfriend.
That's not true.
Steve, hello. So yeah,
you missed that whole thing.
Broke up with Steve on stream, no less. That was really awkward.
Yeah, very rude of me.
I don't know. It's actually weird to think about like what happened in the last year. Hell's Boot Time, you missed that. That was
I'm blonde.
Times. She's blonde now. Yeah. We lived together for a month.
Yeah.
We got to cast DreamHack
apparently
Austin.
got married, according to Fear Dragon. Because I went to a wedding.
That's right. I forgot about that. That was the weekend where I was being the good guy for once, telling people exactly what you were doing, and Fear Dragon was the one spreading the lie.
Shitstar.
I don't know. We live boring lives. We just cast StarCraft every day, so I guess that's the majority of what you missed. Just good StarCraft.
When you think about it, a year includes Hell It's About Time. Like that.
Well, that's what I said. Like, that's the first thing I said.
Oh.
No,
well,
second thing. It's the second thing I said.
Even more so, when I think about it, that was not quite a year ago. That is, not depressing, but just, oh god, it's been a long time.
We've done a lot in the year, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway.
Anyways, getting game number 2. Quick shoutouts go to Lego Master 666 for the 6-month resub. Oh lord, he's summoning the Lego Devil. All hail the Vampire Lord. Here it is to 6 months of fresh next to bite. All right, getting into game. He is up 1 map currently in the top left side of King Sejong Station. It's the blue Terran player, Team Liquid's Bunny.
In the bottom right as the red Zerg is Liquid TLO.
All right, now again, it sucks that there's a Team Liquid team kill. It's just naturally going to happen for most events. That being said, one may still qualify through the losers bracket depending on their performance. I don't want to write TLO off yet after that first game, but I will say that did not look to be TLO's best game. I want to give Bunny credit because of the cool thing like with the Reapers and all that, but truth be told, that just was not well handled out of TLO. And it's something where I hope he shakes it off, doesn't let it get to him, and I know he can play better than what we saw.
Yeah. It's one of those things that... No, go ahead.
Oh, no, you first.
Okay. It's one of those things that... it may not look like damage. He didn't actually kill the third base, but it really throws off, especially a Zerg player. It's one thing to throw off macro, but to throw off a Zerg player's like macro and make their drones like 10 seconds later is actually a huge deal.
Yeah. Someone had actually asked about this last game. We didn't have time to answer. I was just going to bring it up again about the minerals. They're asking why aren't there cakes? And, well, the cakes are cool and awesome. It really does mess with pro play. Whether it's just the corner of your eye being distracted by these extra big objects that are super pink and stand out, or whether you just don't like them and it bothers you because you hate skins and are no fun. Either way, and I'm not saying anyone is that, by the way. I'm just saying, like, from those two extreme points of view, like, the point of it is, it was going to interfere with pro play, and it was really unfortunate this happened on the day of qualifiers. So, nice username, shoutouts to him, made a mod that the admin said we could use, where all it does is remove that skin and replace it back with a mineral skin. So there's, unfortunately, no graph mods from BaseTradeTV, no WCS mods, no really awesome observer helping tools. This is strictly for the players so they can play a little bit more normalized.
Yeah. For those that don't know, and it is often forgotten, there are rules to participating in WCS, and one of them happens to be no skins. So while you don't see a lot of complaints anymore about, like, no one really complained about the Overlord skin, although that is, technically not allowed.
The Ling skin, that was always
the
biggest one.
The Ling skin was the worst, just because the Zealot skin, not really that different. The Marine skin, a little different, like made him look a little bit bigger, but the Zergling skins made it look like a lot more Ling, so that is something that would be brought up if people like really wanted to. But anyways, the cake is kind of along the same lines. It makes things look bigger. I think one of them mentioned that it makes it look like an adept shade. I think it's the same reason you should get rid of that freaking Arsadon on Dasan Station. Like, out of the corner of my eye, I think it's a war prism every single time, or like a pylon.
By the way, I finally found a legitimate reason to kill critters on a map. On co-op, if you're playing Abathur, critters drop biomass.
Oh, that's.
I found out because on the Vermilion problem, the lava map, I'm like, where did all this biomass randomly come from? And I realized the lava just killed a bunch of birds and stuff on the first race.
That feels bad. I don't like killing critters.
Shout out to the 9-month resub of Mr. Arthur Simon, by the way. Oh, nicely done on TLO there. He says in chat, "Hey guys, thanks for the 9 months of amazing content and even more. You guys rock, and I'm looking forward to more in the future." Well, thank you for also being very active on Twitter, dude. And brand new sub, first new sub of the day, Maximunk. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. You're awesome.
So you guys can only do a money poll on Rifkin's future hair color if I do a money poll on whether I save my mustache or keep it. So.
Wait, what? Where's that coming from?
Everyone always brings up that you should get your hair color changed when I bring up that my hair color changed,
Ah. Well, here's the difference, I guess.
That's to be fair.
Well, your hair color helped make you look better. I don't think any color is going to help me in that regard.
I really can't imagine I fear like it'd be like,
It'd be like
even though you wouldn't.
Terrible orange hair.
Oh god, no, I didn't. Don't bring that up. But no, I was thinking more like tips. Like, I know you wouldn't do frosted tips, but I can't help but imagine you looking like Guy Fieri or whatever.
I would totally, if the money was there, I would do frosted tips.
Oh,
I think it would look horrible, but no, don't get ideas.
Tips. I get like purple, tips on my.
No, everyone calm down.
hair.
This isn't happening right now.
Beautiful.
Spore crawlers. I guess actually, speaking of things that happened last year, yeah, that happened. The pedo stash was not good times. Double EVA chambers finish up, so TLO probably going to go for those double upgrades that we've seen him consistently do. With the Bailey Nest again. Maybe he'll use this mostly defensively. But I do worry that last game played out similarly like this for him. The only difference is Bunny didn't hit him with a bunch of Reapers this time. So maybe he gets to get away with it all if it weren't for those darn kids.
I mean, I think it's already apparent. Like, I wasn't keeping super close track of his drone count, but I think it's already like higher than it was last game. But gotta pick up, and once again, doesn't pick up everything. Well, unfortunate for Bunny, but the important thing is that they stay alive. The medevacs don't die. Okay, yeah, medevacs don't die. The Marines don't die, and you can continue clearing up creep at the very least. So. This is, of course, a build we've been seeing a lot from Beyond. It is quickly becoming the standard for Terran, especially the follow-up of a third CC. Oopsie.
Small mistakes from Bunny. Yeah. Third CC will be finished up in just a moment's time. He says production coming down. For Bunny, it's really important these drops don't die. Not because, like, okay, you want cost efficiency or even that you need to kill drones, but you need to keep TLO at home, not poking or prodding, and most importantly, not that he's going to scout the third base still isn't down yet, especially as he jumps towards his fourth. Love the positioning of this fourth, too, by the way, instead of the middle of the map.
Yeah, the middle of the map is questionable. The left side is also questionable. I mean, this was the one to go for in Heart of the Swarm. I'm surprised people didn't just automatically go for it again in Legacy of the Void. But it's accompanied by a tank this time. It's got to focus fire the Banelings, though, and that isn't exactly super easy. The Marines actually focus fire the Banelings, but unfortunately, Ling still got a decent surround. No upgrades to consider. That's something else that Bunny definitely had in favor. In that last game was a bit like 30-second faster upgrade, something like that. It was pretty good, especially since I think TLO really was planning on having faster upgrades and just had to be disappointed.
Well, without combat shields, still hasn't been started yet. Bunny, or excuse me, just finished. Never mind. I was having a weird moment where I didn't see those. Combat shields being done. Never mind, makes a big world of difference. So to say, his staying power wouldn't have been here, especially against Lings of all things, especially as Banelings, but he is good to keep just dropping and picking up the way he's doing it. The reason for this primarily is the fact that you can eat like one accidental Baneling hit and maybe even get away with it, but without combat shields, you can have a bad time. Always.
I really don't know about Bunny continuing to push like this. This has quickly become like, okay, you guess.
Yeah.
Like, no, you probably.
I thought he was just gonna pick up and back away again, but he saves the tank and only the tank. Drop on the south gets picked off by the Queen's Spinecrawler and Spore, and now he's left with what is half the army supply.
Yeah.
Yikes.
This is quickly what. I guess Beyond doesn't exactly let up his aggression, and Beyond's like a special case. I don't know, but it does seem to be better that if you realize they've gotten to a certain point, and sometimes that point is Ravager, and sometimes it's a Fester, you're better off actually just bulking up at home and doing like one big push as opposed to trying to keep on the pressure, because at a certain point, clearly TLO has no problem getting you to run away, and this is just giving him more momentum and more space to go for this Hive and Ultralisk tech, and less space for you, the Terran, to combat Ultralisk tech. I think with the supply that Bunny has right now, I think he already has to kind of just be like, oh well, I guess I gotta deal with the Ultras. Let's get, Liberators, let's get Ghosts. Because this 2-2 definitely won't be finished for a really good push before Ultralisk Caverns. We're plating even. This 2-2 is really late.
Well, I do like the Infestors this game, regardless of what the late game is going to look like. I do think one of the problems we saw last time was just, the Crucibles couldn't hit anything. Now they certainly will. And, I mean, let's be honest, the difference of last game versus this game for TLO is like night and day. Like, he's getting away with 5 bases, he's got creep spread out the wazoo, Bunny's not been able to touch him.
And Bunny's got a 4th base on the way.
But
and I guess his tank count has kind of been growing.
Oh, that's gonna be devastating. I don't know if he'd
Caster Curse, though.
I don't know if he'd even be able to establish a 4th base though. You could have that command center all you like, but if TLO's policing the map, it's not gonna happen. These Marines kiting backwards, dying slowly. A lot of the bio dying out here. The pickoff in the tanks, I think, being the biggest factor though, because it's these ones unsieged. The 3 in the middle of the map. There's nothing to keep the Infestors at bay.
This is really... this has all been, coming up since Bunny was over-aggressive with the 3rd or 2nd attack, even. This is not something that TLO had to do. He could have waited for Ultralisk. He could have waited till he was maxed out, but he was like, wow, I'm really taking a good fight.
Yeah, he saw the opportunity. Decided to run with it. And I think it's a good point. Good choice. 4th base.
Oh, nope. So much for that.
Yeah. Even if Bunny stabilizes at this point, he's lost so much of his army, and it's not about what TLO has right now for trades, it's about what he's got coming up next, what's on deck, and that's going to be those Ultras.
Yep. Yeah, it's game. And Bunny, I think, really knows this. He's done no economic damage to be like, well, if I, survive, then I've got a chance here. You're below 100 supply, and they aren't, and it's just bad.
40 workers killed. GG ties it up 1-1. TLO takes game number 2. But alright guys, 2 games, you know the deal. We'll see you in 2 minutes with game number 3. Hey everybody, we're back. Thanks for watching that commercial break. We are going to be getting into game number 3 as soon as Bunny is ready. He needed just a moment after that game, but it looks like he is good now. So, if you're just joining us, it's tied up 1-1, and this is a qualifying match. The winner of this will be qualified through to DreamHack Montreal.
Hells yeah.
You know, a kind of funny difference between the two, by the way. Like, Bunny is a lot less, how to phrase this, like, sponsored. I'm trying to think how to phrase it. Like, because you're gonna have sponsors want to fly TLO everywhere out the wazoo. He went to like Austin, not even to play, but just to be there for like Razer or something like that. One of the liquid sponsors. Bunny, you don't really hear that happening too much for. So I kind of imagine like it's maybe more important for Bunny to qualify and win, because it's more likely we'll end up seeing TLO there either way.
That's a decent point.
So perhaps a little bit of emphasis on this guy. It is only 1-1 though, so it's still anyone's series. In the top right of Galactic Process, we got the blue Terran. It's Team Liquid's Bunny.
The bottom left has the red Zerg. He is Liquid TLO. And that is a very good point. Because I think, I mean, like you asked, and like the WCS system's kind of hard to follow with all the names and stuff, but it's the DH Open. You can actually openly participate even if you didn't win these qualifiers, which I believe means like any of you could. I think it's bring your own computer, but still, if you really want to, if you think you're the next Bonjour.
Yeah. So actually, that's a funny thing. Go back at TLO for a moment. This is a commercial of his I remember from a while ago. I don't remember which, whether it was HyperX or Intel or who did it, but it's him and a bunch of the other folks that were sponsored being thrown like a sword in the middle of the street, and like just an epic battle erupts out of nowhere, like people come charging in. Do you know the one I'm referring to?
I actually don't know.
If someone knows which commercial I'm referring to, you can link that in chat. It was actually really hilarious because TLO, I don't know whether it was staged or whether they just told the players like, "Hey, come meet us at this point at this time for like filming," and they show up and all of a sudden it's just like, "Surprise! You're in a battle. Deal with it." Like, it's actually a really cool commercial.
I don't remember that one, but a couple things. Thanks, Cody Lawson, for the 5-month resub. People are talking about the APM of TLO. It's his hotkeys, not his keyboard or his mouse or anything like that, that mess up StarCraft 2's calculations. And then third, I don't remember that commercial, but
like right now,
I do
1300 APM.
Yeah, I remember all of the EG commercials. And maybe because they were like really short and sweet, and I was also like an Idra fan back in the day, so therefore I was an Evil Geniuses fan. But
because hang on, there's two different ones here, right? But they're both kind of similar. Are we talking the EG or the HyperX ones?
That's a good question, actually. I think EG in general, because EG also had like the Jaedong one. The HyperX one was like the Huck one, and the two Huck ones, and they also had the like League of Legends, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually I found the HyperX ones kind of funny. Those dorky guys at the office are like great. The accountants.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah. So that I was talking about that one, but also anything that EG really did, I think has actually been pretty good quality.
My favorite still is like that in-control mockumentary thing he did.
Yes, that was quite perfect.
I still use that GIF of him like nodding no, like from time to time.
They just I was gonna say we have quite a few Lings, but I think with 2 Reapers, TLO kind of has to give up on this, to be honest. Like 1 Reaper, 8 Lings could probably take care of, especially if the mic.
Well, I mean, especially with the bunker finishing up. Now there's a place for them to just chill and shoot. But
Okay, there you go. 1 Reaper died, so it could have been snowballing to a lifted 3rd even, and in fact might still be. But he really did lose, I think, a good portion. Yeah, 11 Lings went down for that. So was it really worth it to stop 1 SCV, 2 SCVs from mining? Maybe 3.
If this actually allowed him to get control and deny mining for a few more seconds, I'd say yeah, but he's lost his momentum. He didn't build too many more Lings behind this. There's 10 more on the way now, saying maybe there's opportunity, but unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be able to shut down mining entirely from Bunny's natural. I think a lesser Terran, for certain, would have been caught off guard with this. The Reapers would have been in the middle of the map. They wouldn't have been defending at home.
Or
this would have been awkward.
Or a Terran that doesn't go for 2 Reapers.
Yeah, that's true too, because the first one got picked off so quickly.
Yeah, well, this one was picked off too. But yeah, like 1 Reaper goes down, and you actually have nothing because you're waiting for a reactor to build, so you would not have any mining.
I mean, TLO may be doing this because this map does have this dynamic of 2 entrances, but they put rocks in during the last qualifier, so you can't really just easy mode your way in anymore. Bunny could have put this bunker at the front with a decent wall and been question mark fine. I don't know.
Yeah, that would have been difficult though. He's really scared. I mean, a second bunker going down, especially in the position, he's not scared of just lings. He's scared of like a baneling bust.
Yeah, the whole position on these lings, by the way, to get SCV kills has been really fantastic, but still, it's only like 4 workers killed. Now, the resources lost actually is somewhat close. This isn't like this has been a total waste for TLO, but numbers-wise, it's 24 lings that have died for 4 SCVs and 2 Reapers. Like, that's not a phenomenal-looking number. In fact, 24,
yeah,
4-2, yeah.
10 minutes in the game, you're like, okay, that's fair enough, but so early, that's a lot of drones that TLO was supposed to have. Fueling, the eventual ling burst. So it is not, I would say, not the greatest for TLO. We'll see who, I mean, if there's any messed up macro on either side. I mean, I see right now TLO's not getting +1 melee. He's actually going for a baneling bust, I guess, but also getting +1 carapace, which won't be finished.
Right, the carapace I think is a little more interesting to me because A, this is something you want to prioritize for if you are going to go to Hive Tech, if you do want those ultras. But B, it's something that will also benefit him if he ends up playing with the Ravagers in that mid game. So I don't know which direction TLO's heading because like this does look like a giant all-in, but it's a giant all-in off of like decent economy that you wouldn't have to dedicate to.
47 is not that decent. I don't know. This is reminding me of that King Sejong game with TLO. Remember? Like he made those like 6 banelings
like 2K
that like
APM.
Okay, well, he made those 6 banelings that didn't do anything. They like busted down like engineer base. They only just started their upgrades, and it was very just like, what is this actually working?
He just salvaged his bunkers.
But he has enough units that as long as he splits, as long as he's paying attention, I actually think he has enough.
Maybe, but he picks up with the medevacs.
Oh shit!
So JK, TLO has the perfect
behind,
opportunity.
Bunny can lose like a good 20 SCVs. I think Bunny's okay here.
I don't know about the choice for TLO to bust the ramp. I think he really thought those were not coming back home. Whole position on the links gets some more SCV kills. Not too bad. 13 have only died, but this could have been so much worse. The timing there was so sweet for TLO. I don't think he realized the opportunity he had to just go for that mineral line.
I think, yeah, I agree, because he really could have just gotten in there and then gotten right out, which is way different than what, possibly happened, which is losing all of his lings, too. And he's still, like, quote-unquote committing to this. Like, he's getting tech, Roach Warren, and the carapace is now finished, but I did not expect.
He just got super supply blocks.
This is actually not so bad for TLO. There's enough banelings that Bunny can't really focus fire, but that was some good setter step.
Yeah, well, he was also trying to really get us around to hold the Marines in place, so a bit of a failure in that regard, but 2 lings get up here to the north. Bunny's going to segment some units off to go deal with it. Bunker finishes up, but it's full surround of the lings, and no Marines inside that bunker means no problem from said bunker. SCV's going to split.
Or he can split them. Even if he loses
he
all
should have
of the
picked him up.
Even if he lost all those things, like, down 10 workers is not that bad for a tank.
Okay, down 10 workers in comparison to what's alive, but it's down 40 workers, like, in general. Like, that's...
Okay, well, that sucks, but I really think that TLO... But I thought he'd overcommitted on that King Sejong game, not the last one we just cast, but, like, yesterday, or 2 days ago, actually. It was very odd, and he still ended up winning. So I'm not giving it to Bunny yet, but I do think that TLO, if Bunny does everything correctly from here on out, will lose. He has some very questionable, like, early-ish mid-game aggression here, and I wonder what he's trying to make work. I mean, I think he's kind of hoping that the Terran is at a position like Bunny almost was, or just isn't microing.
What Bunny has could potentially kill TLO. I agree. The problem is TLO also could barely scrape by the skin of his teeth and defend it, like good baneling hits here, for example. And at the same time, the SCVs have been driven off the third. A couple were killed in the natural. I mean, this has really been the game of TLO getting economic damage at the sacrifice of army. And it looks like that sacrifice of army may have been just a little too much. So many Marines just barely get through this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's only because Bunny wasn't paying attention for like a second.
Yeah. Well, the worker kill count, Bunny only killed about 4, but again, kind of reign supreme on that army. That 1-1 really certainly helping. But the baneling hits were good, and if he never got those baneling hits, I don't know if Bunny would have had to actually back away from that. A lot of what-ifs going on in this game for both players, of course, but for Bunny right now, looking to try and push and get some real damage done. He knows how many workers he's lost this game, and I know he wants to repay some of that.
Yeah. New sub, Macromancer999, thank you so much to see Bunny having to disengage, but only for the moment. TLO has never been at a very comfortable drone count, so I think eventually his production will just be underwhelming, basically. Counterattack, not a bad idea at all. Or to catch reinforcements even, not a bad idea.
going to have to come in for the backside, though. He's going in a little bit early with this army. Baneling's come in without too much to distract, so the focus fire from Bunny was good. He took out all the Banelings, and now the Lings just funneling from behind, and they're not getting much done. TLO, I think, is about to lose out here. Even though he's got Roaches and Lings on the way, he can't actually deal with the army.
Yeah. Yeah, Bunny did almost perfect follow-up to all that aggression. He did lose a couple Marines here and there, but it was a situation that he was in a better situation, basically. That was very poorly worded, but he was in a better situation, he took advantage of it, and now he's going to win. It's very odd stuff from TLO. It worked before, barely, because I think Thermal, I think it was who he used it against, over-dedicated to the push and messed up a bit too much. Bunny did not.
Oh, GG. Bunny takes a 2-1 lead now in this series. But again, it's a lead, not a finish. He needs to win one more game to actually knock TLO to the loser's bracket and qualify through.
Yeah. New Gettysburg.
Ooh, this will be interesting.
New Gettysburg. Why isn't it Old Gettysburg? I mean, it literally is Old Gettysburg. You see the Nidus worm and stuff.
Well,
why is it new?
So in fairness, why is New York called New York?
I know, it's pretty old at this point.
I think
New
they're
Jersey?
Well, my logic on it is there's already a York like in the world, and that's why we call it New York. So maybe this is something where there was a Gettysburg, and this is the new Gettysburg. Even though it's old, objectively, it's still newer than the old Gettysburg.
So I've always wondered about this, right? I actually live close enough to Gettysburg, and we learn all about the Civil War and shit. But I wonder if there's a Gettysburg already existing in the galaxy that they're in, and that's why it's New Gettysburg for them, or they remember the Earth Gettysburg, and they call it New Gettysburg. Because, for as much as, the campaign has spanned just so long, there really isn't much mentioned about Earth. There's UED, and then they kind of, like...
The UED just kind of, like, came out of nowhere, too. You're like, oh, I thought we already saw the Terrans. Like, no, you forgot about the secret Terrans back on the original Earth.
And for the most part, it really is just like, no, this part of the galaxy or the universe is just not part of the UED, so let's, forget about them. So where is the Gettysburg? Where is the new one? I don't know.
So there's no confirmation on the brackets, but going off of Twitter, it looks like Marine Lord has qualified through. So we got Thermal, Mana, and Marine Lord all making it through the top half of the bracket. And we're going to find out whether it'll be Bunny or TLO that joins them here shortly. So 2 Terran and a Protoss would certainly beg that a Zerg gets through for balance, but we'll see how this goes. TLO actually, quickly before we do intros, has not been making that many queens in a lot of these games, just to note.
Oh, yeah.
At any rate, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Game number 4, spawning in the bottom left side. We've got the blue Zerg player. It's going to be Team Liquid's TLO.
In the bottom right, as the red Terran, he's Liquid Bunny.
So I know TLO actually stands for the little one, right?
Uh-huh.
And that was because, of course, he had a brother. Their names kind of like worked off each other. That was kind of cool and cute, whatever. But at this point, I really don't even see it as that. Like, I'm never going to read his name and be like, the little one, like, in my mind. Like, TLO is just standalone, like this awesome, cool name.
Sometimes I talk to my cat, because I do that very often. I'll go, like, come here, little one, because Apollo's actually kind of small, and he was the kitten, right? And that's when I remember that TLO's name is the little one.
So when you're ironically enough talking to Apollo, you're like, right, TLO.
Whoa, mind being blown. Yep. Exactly.
Apollo is such a good caster and great at providing information and insight. He does it even when he's not present.
Exactly.
I wish he went back to commentary.
It really is, Kalaris finally comes back to StarCraft, where you've been, buddy, for Shanghai. But Apollo... Well, have they announced the casting team for Montreal? No, right?
I don't think so, but I was going to say, Kalaris, he's not even, like, casting. I thought he was just, like, desk analyst or host or something, isn't he?
Is he? I don't know. There's, like... Okay, like, any, like, judgment about the people they invited aside, like, that would all be a whole other conversation. The amount of people they invited for this is insane. There was, like, 8 people. When I understand there's like a commentary and then there's the desk, but that seems like quite a lot.
I agree. I'm stoked to see Funka there, by the way, casting.
Funka is a fantastic caster. I love him as a new addition. But I really don't know if there's a point of like having a desk analyst, host, and an interviewer, and there's one other position that I'm kind of like, is it really necessary? But I can't remember what it was. Not the observer, but something else. Anyway.
I can think of one.
I already said interviewer.
No. Never mind. All right, so command center coming down on location for Bunny. This is something where I want to say a little bit bold, especially after the way TLO got aggressive that last game, but I guess with having Reapers on the other side of the map instead of playing defensive, he feels like, all right, if he's busy defending, he can't really attack me. So he'll get away with this, which is going to be really nice. Like a third CC on location this quick in the game is pretty huge for Terran.
Yeah.
If you can keep getting away with it.
That is pretty damn fast, yeah. Well, this has gone to... Not that the 2 medevac drop push, whatever you want to call it, has been doing so much work for Bunny. It is something that I think Terrans are feeling comfortable with. It gives them those units. It gives them that map control, and he is pushing that off a little bit.
I've just had quite the silly shower thought based on our conversation prior, by the way.
Yeah.
So you can have a city be like New Blank, right? Like New Orleans, New Gettysburg, New York, right? You can't do that with people's names, though. There's not going to be any new Abraham Lincolns.
There should be, though.
But even if you could argue that you could, it sounds weird. It just doesn't sound right compared to the other ones.
Yeah, but that's got to be like, useful, because like people are still called Jesus. It'd be like the new Jesus. Or like some people like still name their kids Adolf. You gotta name him New Adolf.
No, I think at that point you gotta consider why you're naming your kid that. Like that's not.
That's not a good idea. I love that, by the way. Everyone tried to like lecture us on StarCraft 2 or StarCraft 1 lore, and it's just like I don't like. Apparently, some people didn't understand what the whole conversation was about, but a lot of people did not. So kudos to you guys who actually got it. Anyway, that's a lot of lings once again. TLO doing this just every so often it's really kind of like making me scratch my head. This is not nearly as much of a dedication as it was last game, but it is just kind of like, what was up with last game? And what was up with the one game on King Sejong versus U-Thermal? It almost reminds me a little bit of like when Snoot was winning so hardcore, he went for like that really odd Baneling bust. But TLO wasn't winning super hardcore.
I feel like I just started casting with like Jerry Seinfeld. Like, what's up with that?
Wow. I hate Seinfeld.
I don't get how you can be so obsessed with a show like Friends and then be like, I hate Seinfeld.
It's totally different. And I'm sure Seinfeld fans will tell you the same thing. I actually watch it sometimes because it comes right after Friends when we're like making dinner, and I'm like, what? Why? Why is that funny?
The remote's over there.
It's like, well, yeah, that first of all, definitely that. But it's like Big Bang. It's like there's a laugh track, there's no jokes.
Don't even get me started. I'd rather. I could. No. Okay. Baneling's starting up here for TLO. God, now I'm already agitated. We're not even talking about it, I'm agitated. You just don't say the words Big Bang around me. But okay.
Sorry.
This is something where, I don't know, like for TLO's sake, he's got a lot of bases, a lot of money, a lot of larva, blah, 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 but he doesn't actually have an adequate amount of use to necessarily deal with this. It's 3 Banelings. 30 lings actually, excuse me, so his ling count just doubled. This is what hatched, but still, even with a full surround, Bunny can just pick up and disengage.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna abuse. So this terrain is actually disgusting right here.
Yeah, the minerals. Lings can get in there. Even the Banelings would filter in, so maybe you can focus fire them. That is abusive. But this is an attack that's very similar, but you gotta realize it's a little bit later than the past games we've been seeing. And, of course, still no combat shield. It's all looking very, very similar. But it gives them control. TLO didn't get, like, super fast Spire or anything like that to take care of this.
I hope Bunny's paying attention. He's taking too many awkward Baneling hits in this series. Yeah, he's up the game, don't get me wrong, but still, like, I feel like once a game we've seen him take awkward Baneling hits.
Oh. Yeah, we have. Unfortunately, clear up the creep spread, but don't kill the queens. It is just planted back down immediately. Like so. Relax.
Drop of the main gets caught by the lings, and these spore crawlers are actually really nicely spread out for this.
Yeah, good thing he was paying attention as fast as he was, because he definitely should have lost that medevac. Still attacking to the north as well.
Quick shoutouts to Meme Lord Nathanius joining us in chat, waking up for some good morning StarCraft.
It's making the chat 1,000 times better by starting a Kappa train.
Anti-shoutout to Nathanius.
Actually, anti-shout to the chat.
Yeah, right. He might. I feel bad. He's at that point with his dank memes that I don't think he has to even start any. He'll just show up and people will be like, Kappa?
Yeah.
Everyone tries to go for that golden Kappa. One day, dude. One day. We'll see the golden Kappa.
Oh, man, I forgot about that lore, that mythology, and the golden Kappa.
Would you name your kid New Nathanius?
That kind of rolls off the tongue fine. Maybe. I could consider it for the right cost.
For the right amount of donation. Okay, no, that's too far. When streamers start naming their kids based off donations, that's when you've gone too far. Now, these 6 Banelings off to the side, no speed, but there's also no defense. The bunker doesn't have anything inside it. He's awkwardly supply blocked. Okay, there's speed, actually. If TLO had just rolled in, he could have gotten some SCV kills. Instead, he's going to turn around and come back home, maybe out of necessity. Hitting from that backside could help a little bit, but he's also going to get caught by the reinforcements here of Bunny. 2 Banelings go off for nothing. Very unfortunate. Yeah. He does catch some of these Marines out in the open, though, but from the other side, he's kind of getting pushed back. Already into corners with his 4th base up here.
Oh, that could be really useful, but Bunny's... okay, now he clumps up. Oh, I think he got a decent bungle. Oh, on the medevacs, though. Not exactly the greatest. We don't have Ravagers or Queens to take care of them.
Yeah, there's nothing really... all the additional Queens just died on the right side that we were watching, so these medevacs, yeah, they're a little bit low, but there's nothing to really finish them off. If he could finish them off, then the tanks wouldn't be such a problem. Tries to focus it down, not quite going to get it. And boost is a hell of a thing.
Damn. Yeah, it is.
Bunny did have an upgrade lead for this. You know, that 2-2 over what is soon to be 2-2. So TLO does take on Bunny in that regard, but Bunny's about to bridge that gap. And these Marines aren't going to be as weak for long.
I really thought that Bunny's going to be able to break TLO, but you know, TLO's on his way to an Ultra's Cavern. He's still got a couple of upgrades on the way, and has enough to start plating.
I think the 2 other important factors on this is we didn't realize this. He got Burrow, so that's one thing to talk about, of course.
Nice.
But another aspect is the Infestors did live. Oh, Burrow Banelings. We haven't actually seen much of this used at all recently. The Infestor's almost like sick bait. Look at this. He wants him to come and pick this off.
Come get this Infestor, why don't you, eh? But unfortunately, you should be... Yeah, it's mostly Marauders that are going to go forward to kill the Infestor. That
was cute. I really like the Burrow there.
Yeah, but now he just loses 2 Oh my god, almost 2 Infestors.
And the Transfuse?
For not the best Baneling bombs.
No, but there was still clever tactics. I love the thought process that went into it. This base being blocked out by burrowed Zerglings, so it's going to take Bunny to bring some army back to clear it up. But you pointed out, Hive Tech, Ultras, all these wonderful things. So TLO is finally in that late game that he so comfortably likes to play in. Fusion Core starts up on the other side of the field, and Bunny's certainly thinking about Liberators, but I'm not sure Liberators will be enough. Definitely a lot more emphasis on Marauders could help out a ton, but right now the Ultras, without chitinous plating, can still be dealt with. No focus fire though. Goes for the base instead.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if that was. Okay, that's okay. But we did say yesterday, Beyond get to the late stage versus Hydra and still make the late stage look easy. It's very fluid. Hydra kept over dedicating without the help of Infestors or Lings, which TLO's almost doing. He doesn't have Lings. He has Banelings, and the Infestors all have that energy. So this, I think, might be a little too far off and away for TLO.
And
focus fire.
He just walked through a bunch of Liberators too to get here.
Yeah, Infestor's gonna go down. Should go down. No, Marauder, please. Come on. Oh, fine.
Okay, there.
Oh, good job, Liberator.
Doji, I gotta give a shout out to Dojiville in chat, by the way. Just listed off like some of my favorite shows: Venture Brothers, BoJack Horseman. Dude, good taste.
Yeah, people are mentioning, like, I guess, older sitcoms, and I love Friends. I actually really liked Married with Children. The 70s show was fine, but Seinfeld is the one that I just don't understand.
It took me a while to appreciate that 70s show. I didn't really like it for the first season, but then I came back to it like 2 years later and really enjoyed all 3.
Well, a couple Baneling bombs still spread everywhere. We do have Bunny, though, on 5 bases. Like, not even just a 4th, but a 5th, too.
I really want to see these Baneling bombs get some super sweet, ultra sick hit, but the Marines just aren't pathing that direction.
It's also more and more Marauders, you know? So the 20-30 Marine hits is never going to happen.
Certainly, of course not. But even then, hitting the Marauders won't kill them. We'll still get some decent damage.
Yeah, like, if this is during an attack, oh, it's so good. If not, it just, you know, gets it gets energy off the medevacs.
Yeah.
It was funny. Liberator to siege up, take care of a single Ling. It was burrowed. Still not taking care of it though. Little miss a turret.
A little bit annoying for Bunny, but those are Lings, not Banlings, unfortunately. So no sweet hits. You just burrow and try to force scan / get scouting. Now the Corruptor count's been built up behind this. There we go. There's the scan to clean it up. The Corruptor count's coming up behind this, so we will have an answer for the Liberators. Combination fungal growths, but I still worry there's not enough support for these Ultras. There's not enough Queens to be transfusing en masse. There's not enough Lings to buffer for them. The Ultras and the Infestors are really like this is the core of TLO's army, and I don't think that's going to cut it.
It's very scary. I feel like we wouldn't be as scared if we didn't see yesterday's games.
What a cheeky bugger. I didn't realize he turned those broad Lings into Banlings.
Clever. So that was a really good fungal.
It was.
Without that fungal, I think the hatchery goes down.
Even with that fungal, he still can't really engage the Liberators. I think at some point he's going to realize there's really not many Marines, though, and he could just fly over this.
He could kill the Medevacs, he could kill the Liberators, but he goes through with the Ultra Armor first.
Well, actually, so this was important. He actually did build some of the Lings we had talked about before, and because of that, the Liberators shot a lot of the Lings instead of getting to focus fire on the Ultras. Otherwise, 4 Ultras would have melted to 5 Liberators easily.
That's true. The Marauder's still doing decent enough, and he unsieged half the Liberators, or rather sieged half of them, so they're still doing some decent damage to the Corruptors. Just kiting in the Liberation zone.
Oh, a little bit awkward.
Please. Oh, the Ultra's gonna go down.
The miscontrol on 2 fronts from TLO there, not just in the sky, but with the Ultras, especially on the ground. We got Vipers coming up, and I'm not sure if it's for Abduct's Blinding Clouds or hell Parasitic Bombs, but Vipers are an interesting choice to have here. Problem is, though, he doesn't have a lot else to go with it. There's no Ultras on the ground.
Yeah, they did help during that one engagement a little bit, and Blinding Clouds maybe not the worst, as the Liberators have also been clumping up a little bit like, you know, tit for tat for the Corruptors, but it looks like Bunny's doing a fantastic job in the late game. He's been maybe studying some Byun or something, but this is his game. He's up almost 40 army supply, 30 right now. He's got decent upgrades on par, almost on par with TLOs. The one thing I'd say is he's missing command centers, but you know, with his control over this part of the map, he could lift his main and natural and take them pretty easily. Oh, it's so much red.
Jesus. This is where Parasitic Bombs are not too bad. Corruptor's going to come in and try and clean this up, but he just killed all the Ultras.
Yeah, and unfortunately the Banelings, while really useful, it was once again a very high level of Marauders. Even though they're clumped up, they still lived. And Bunny's still looking good, still up at about 20 supply here. And of course, a lot of TLO supply and Corruptors.
We are starting to see a bit of bait. I see like air quotes here, though. A lot of Vikings being made right now, but that's going to protect the Liberators that'll come afterwards. So like right now, the Vikings are going to be questionable for usefulness. Of course, they always fall off. Like they'll be useful for a point, then they're just dead supply afterwards. But protecting their Liberators will be really good. Marines, as we see, just are barely not cutting it.
But one Ultra at a time is also not cutting it.
Yeah, I mean, again, for TLO, like if for no other reason to soak the Liberator hits, like more Lings need to be with this.
Yeah, he's gonna be able to take care of those Ultras. Yep, reinforcements come in. Now Vikings are here. Who makes those?
He also just focused down the Viper.
Oh, that was cool. But
always got to keep eyes out for TLO.
It's just not enough. The Marauder army is able to take those hits.
He needs this base too, by the way. He's pretty much mined out of all his other bases. TLO's like sitting on a nice 2K income, but that's about to disappear.
Bunny's playing a really cool late game here. TLO at certain points just almost on that perfect army, almost enough Lings, certainly enough Corruptors, but of course missing Queens, missing Infestors for a very long time. And Bunny's just been kind of not exactly skyrocketing, but like definitely getting even more leads. Now he's up 50 supply, and he's got upgrades for his weapon or his armory now. So many Liberators, like 5 Liberators at a time. Again, those Vikings can kite a little bit here. Still very Odyssey Vikings, but they are.
They're not a bad choice when you consider how badly the Marines have been performing versus these Corruptors.
Yeah. I think the Viking option is just a lot better if you want to control. Liberators are definitely more just like, I need to siege these up and not so much try and kite with them. Whereas Vikings are pretty good at that. But it's still fun to see them. You know, we make fun of them when we see them in PvT. So make fun of them when we see them here.
Make fun of them, period.
If these did turn into Broodlords also, they'd be good for like, you know, sniping those down, which maybe Bunny was anticipating. You know, he's not exactly sure how much bank TLO does or does not have. Certainly everyone's been in those games where you think you denied economy, but they actually have like 3,000 bank. so it was a good choice. But Bunny's definitely run away with this game at this point. Killed all the mining bases for TLO, has a new mining base of his own. It turns into a planetary too. It's not even one of his orbitals.
Yeah. This is it's a little bit sad because like on one hand I think a lot of us were cheering for TLO. I know I was, but at the same time for Bunny to qualify through goes back to that point we talked about earlier. Like, is this actually more important for Bunny to have qualified, right? Like the whole dynamic of getting to DreamHack in general.
What's so important and so glad we watched this series is that Bunny is not Byun. Like, we'll start with B, maybe that's a secret. And he took this late game with almost as much ease as Byun did versus Hydra. And certainly we can all point to faults that TLO made. Hydra made some of the same mistakes, maybe even worse, actually. I think TLO has played a pretty decent late game here. But this isn't just hitting your head against the wall, as we see other Terrans have been doing for the past 2 months.
I'm really interested in the Blindy Clouds. Like, the bio's going to kite out of that pretty easily. GG. Congratulations to Bunny, qualifying for DreamHack Montreal. So if you guys are going to be in Montreal, you get to possibly meet Team Liquid's Bunny.
That's 3 Terrans through the winner's bracket. Finally. Starting to reflect Korea, am I right?
Ha!
Okay.
All right. Well,
and Mana.
This leaves some interesting contenders, though, for the bottom 4 slots. On one hand, TLO, obviously a big shot, but Cyril, Beastie, and Namshar are other ones that I think we'd look forward to. But we do have some matches already underway over there, so I don't know if we're even going to have... We might have one more best of 5 with TLO's next one. I'm not sure, because it looks like Wellmu and Minatos haven't played or walked over, or I'm not sure what's going on with that. But the other matches, I believe, are already underway. So, folks, stick with us. We'll try and get this last best of 5 for you in a few. But it'll likely be TLO versus either Wellmu or Minato. I'm guessing Wellmu, though. So we'll see you guys soon.